Hello and welcome to Meet the Candidates, a forum for those running for the Ramsey City Council, Ward 3, in the November 8th election. My name is Leslie Waterhouse. I'm a member of the Anoka, Blaine, Coon Rapids League of Women Voters who sponsor Meet the Candidates. I live in Big Lake and do not have a vote for this City Council position. The League of Women Voters does not support or oppose any political parties or candidates. The League does help citizens become informed voters, and we advocate for important issues that we have studied. This Meet the Candidates Forum is about informing voters. If you're interested in the League, visit our website at lwvabcmn.org. We invite people of all genders, gender identities, and adults of all ages to join. So to begin the forum, the candidates will answer 2 introductory questions they received in advance, followed by questions submitted by the public via our website, and questions of importance to the League of Women Voters. Answers are, and then we'll end with closing statements. So answers are limited to 90 seconds for each of the 2 introductory questions, and then 1 minute for each of the other questions and closing statements, and candidates will rotate being the first to answer. So welcome Ward 3 candidates, Dan Specht and Rachel Johnson, and thank you both for participating. Although I'm not able to vote in this election, it's great to be here this evening and have the opportunity to hear the answers to the questions that are important to voters. So let's begin with the introductory questions. Names were drawn for who would begin, so we'll start off with candidate Johnson with the first question. What is your motivation to run for this office, and what experience or knowledge would help you serve effectively?
Thank you for the question, and I just want to thank the League of Women Voters for giving me this opportunity to express what I have in my beliefs. So my motivation to run was really based on the will of making Ramsey a better place. It came down from the heart after being asked by multiple people to run for City Council. Currently, I have been a resident here for the last 24 years. I've raised 3 beautiful children, and I even now have 2 grandchildren that are in the area. My experience with the City Council today is with the Economic Development Authority Board as a commissioner, and we really just recommend new business opportunities to the City Council for approval. The last 30 years, I've worked in the financial industry from kind of the bottom all the way up to an assistant vice president. Those last 5 years as an assistant vice president, I worked with upper management. I really honed in on my exceptional leadership skills, also project management, communicator, and working with budgets all the time. That was definitely the biggest thing that I can say that I can contribute to this has been being able to achieve all of those goals in my financial professional background, and it will be an opportunity for me to go with City Council. I think the needs are fitting.
Thank you. And candidate Specht?
Well, thank you very much. I do also want to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting this forum. It's a great opportunity. My motivation for running is to ensure that residents of Ramsey have a voice in City Hall. It's been an honor to represent Ward 3, which is pretty much everything south of Alpine down to the river, since 2019. Through this time, we've been able to accomplish a lot for the residents from their feedback. Promises made and promises kept. We've eliminated city fees such as our hunting fee, dog licensing fee, franchise fees. We've simplified our city codes such as our animal ordinance, making it easier to read and simpler to follow. We've improved new businesses in Ramsey, such as Sammy's Pizza or Allison's Petite Pastries, O'Reilly's Auto Parts, expansion of Gigi's Salon, and many more. For our parks, we've improved the new playground replacement policy, which ensures that playgrounds are reviewed and replaced if needed on a regular basis. And we've fortunately done this without having to increase our levy due to using different funding mechanisms. Prior to serving on City Council, I was elected and served on the Pack Charter School Board where I was also then elected as the school board chair. That experience taught me how to gather information from multiple sides before making a tough decision. I currently work remotely for a company out of Ohio, offering support and consulting services for Microsoft software. Previously, I had worked for Microsoft directly for 10 years. That's taught me the importance of great customer service skills. My wife and 3 children are also a great motivation for me here to run and try to keep a great city where we live, here in Ramsey.
Thank you. And candidate Specht, what are your goals for the future of Ramsey?
Thank you. For me, it's important that we're fiscally responsible with the money that we collect from you, the residents. It's your money, not ours. While being fiscally responsible and making tough decisions about what's important for our city and how we spend it, it is important that we do spend money on some things, such as fully funding our police. This ensures that we have a safe community. I'm glad that we were able to approve the requested new body cameras and new squad car cameras for our police officers. We also need a strong infrastructure. We've currently allocated about $1.7 million plus a year in our budget to fix our roads. On top of that, we've allocated another $1.5 million plus from the COVID relief funds. And just recently now, we have a plan in place to bond for enough money to bring all of our roads up to speed and have them fixed within the next 3 to 5 years. So we're really focusing on having that strong infrastructure and safe roads for us. I'm really excited for the future of Ramsey as I think about it. I think about the new Anoka Ramsey Athletic Association dome that we're just beginning to work on. And we know that's going to bring restaurants, hotels, and other business. I was honored to serve on the Highway 10 committee, where we were able to secure funding for getting rid of the stoplights on Fish and Ramsey Boulevard, starting in 2023. As Ramsey develops, it is important that we allow the rural areas of Ramsey to remain rural while focusing development here in the core and other areas that have business. Thank you.
Thank you. And candidate Johnson?
Yes, thank you for the question. My goals for Ramsey as a future, when we originally moved out here, it was a pretty small town. We were very excited about the opportunity of not living in a city environment and having kind of this open space to be able to enjoy our life and our kids' lives. It's definitely grown, which is a wonderful thing. Everything needs to move forward with the future. I believe that we need to keep a really good balance with our rural sectors of Ramsey along with our non-rural sectors of Ramsey, with this being, the core. We need to really create that downtown atmosphere. The last couple of years has definitely been a little bit of a struggle attracting businesses, which is rightfully so, doing with the COVID whole situation of, people not going shopping online, deliveries, understanding that the way businesses were working had changed. But I'd really like to see us go forward with not just a chain type of environment, but more small businesses, a little bit more creative, a little bit more fun, and exciting that no one else has. I really feel like Ramsey could be a great destination place for people to come. We have a lot to offer with everything that we do. So that would be one of the future goals that I would have.
Thank you. And now for the questions that came from the public via our website, and for the following questions, each candidate will have 1 minute to respond to the questions. So beginning with candidate Johnson, Ramsey is a growing area and residents are interested in when businesses will fill our downtown area. What would you do to promote a business-friendly environment?
Thank you for the question. It really, I think what we need to be doing is getting out there and asking current business owners, maybe that might want to expand, going through and making it just known that we are open for new business. I really believe the chair of our EDA is very well versed in doing this. But I think it will take all of us to really start talking to people. Hey, this is kind of an interesting concept. I'd really love to see it here. So I know the owners of St. Paul Brewery and Can Wonderland, and I just called and said, I'd love for something like this out here. Can we do something? Would you be interested? And that's definitely something, hopefully, that we could do. Just kind of keep going by word of mouth. I mean, us as city, we have to start attracting what we'd like to see.
Thank you. And candidate Specht?
Thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm excited by the business growth that we've had so far, but we do have a long way to go. One thing that I think we can do is try to make less restrictions in the core area for new businesses. Right now, there's a lot of restrictions as to what types of brick needs to be put up, what kinds of facade and building. I think if we can make that kind of a little bit less restrictive, of course, we want the buildings to look nice, but get rid of some of those restrictions, make them more business friendly. I'm also in favor of, being that the city owns a lot of the land in the core area, that we can use different tax incentives and use different methods to give the land for very cheap, knowing that right now it's not bringing in tax revenue, but if we were to sell it and bring in a business, that it would. So let's utilize this land we have, make it very attractive, cheap for them. So change some of those rules, make the land cheap. I know what we've been doing too is get rid of some of making changes in the ordinances, allowing breweries, allowing different business types in different areas. So again, it's a really business-friendly environment.
Thank you. So candidate Specht, recently Ramsey indicated it would pause its progress on a water treatment facility due to budget concerns and the current inflated environment for construction cost. Do you think the city should push forward on a water treatment plant?
Well, thank you. Yeah, absolutely. We do need it, and we are going to get it done. I think our idea is that let's give it some time. Even last time in one of our last discussions was let's even check back on a monthly basis or every meeting basis, every 2 weeks, and see if we're seeing any changes in prices, if we have any predictions from people and businesses and construction businesses they've been talking to think, is concrete prices going to go up, down? Because it needs to be done. One thing I hear a lot from residents is, I have a lot of iron, or we have the manganese in the water, and it's safe right now to drink, but sometimes there's discoloration that people don't like, and if we ever have a high enough demand where we can't mix the different amounts of water from the different wells, then we wouldn't need that treatment plant. So we don't want to be in a situation where we won't have enough water for people. But fortunately now we're fine, it is safe, but it's very important and it needs to get done.
Thank you. And candidate Johnson?
Thank you, too. I actually agree wholeheartedly with Mr. Speck on this. We definitely need to have safe water. Right now, it's within the acceptable limits, but when it doesn't become the acceptable limits, then we really have some issues. So I definitely am all for making sure that we have a great budget along with the funds to do it and, get it done. But, really, at the end of the day, there's going to come a time when we're just going to have a water treatment facility, regardless of what our budget is.
Thank you. And next question, we'll start with you, candidate Johnson. What do you see as currently the biggest issue or problem facing Ramsey, and what is your main objective for the city of Ramsey if elected?
This is a really great question. So I think one of the biggest issues that we are facing is roads. The roads right now, obviously we're getting Highway 10 done. The county roads will probably be updated right after that. And then working on cities. Right now that flow of traffic is going to be probably changed drastically based on, the other options the other items that we have going on. The biggest problem we're facing, I think, is going to be money at this point. We really haven't taken care of setting aside money over the last many years. So hopefully we can, come up with a better solution for that. And the main objective for Ramsey, if elected, I think really we just need to start focusing on coming together, working as a team, and developing great relationships with the city itself.
Thank you. And candidate Specht?
Thank you, yes. The city roads are very important right now for Ramsey. We hear a lot of feedback, both from community sites, from residents I meet with, people I door knock at, that, they want safe roads. I remember one particular individual I door knocked at, Justin, he said that his landscaping business, they've actually lost tires and damage to their trailers from some of the roads that they've had driven on. And of course, we don't want that to happen. So, that's why we're putting, the extra COVID money at 1.5 million, but most importantly, we're looking at bonding right now. We've all kind of in agreement to bond, I think it's about $10 to $12 million to make sure that we can then get all these roads fixed and up to speed, within the next 3 to 5 years. Starting next year with 167th, which I know is really bad, 161st, and for the future of Ramsey, again, most important thing is, let's get fiscal responsibility, but there are things we need to spend money on, so let's do that to make sure we have a nice community.
Thank you. And starting with you, candidate Specht, Ramsey has a unique balance of suburban and rural areas. What do you think balance means, and how is it maintained?
Yeah, that is a huge thing. Even within Ward 3, there's a vast difference of very large lots, very open backyards and more rural feel, where there's areas where there's very more condensed housing here. And I think that's both important for the city and our future, and make sure that the needs of both are met. I think one way to do that is, as we look to develop business and the land use here, let's make sure that we're getting those businesses in this core area, or even south of Highway 10, or some of the other business areas like up I-47. So the areas that have business, let's develop business there and bring them there. Easy access. The areas, north Ramsey, maybe 150th and so up, not exactly, but around that area, let's make sure that we are very careful about what we approve there. When we look at our land zoning, we gotta make sure that it's zoned for rural. We wanna make sure that new developments there respect that high zoning, and which is why I personally voted against some of the smaller developments that wanted to go up there. So, it's important, and we need to respect that.
Thank you. And candidate Johnson?
Thank you again for the question. I definitely believe that our unique balance is one of the things that I love about this city. We are fortunate to be on a little bit of a larger lot, not quite in a rural area. We love the fact that we have that. When it comes to housing, the generations are a little bit different. It's a lot different than it used to be. So everyone used to just love their single family home, and everyone was excited about it. Now there is townhouse opportunities for maybe younger generations who aren't looking to do a lot of yard work. And the fact that we are bringing, apartment buildings that are really designed for seniors. So, when it comes that time, my mom, can come close to us, or maybe it's even an apartment based on just that short term of what they need, or maybe they don't qualify for a house just yet and they need to work on getting that done. So we need a little bit of everything. So hopefully we can kind of keep that balance and make it all work.
Thank you. And so starting with candidate Johnson, the next question, with Highway 10's inevitable construction, how do you plan on supporting local businesses during that construction time?
This is just something very personal for me. Small businesses definitely take a hit in a lot of different ways, depending on, what's going on. With Highway 10, it's going to bring us a whole, I think, lot of opportunity as we open it up. It's not such a struggle to get to where we are, and to support local businesses. I mean, it's just one thing when they, kind of have that cry for help. It's one of the things that you can definitely do. I will say Mr. Specht is very good at, really posting on social media how that works, and or not how that works, for the call for their help. And I just think that's something that we need to always keep an eye on during this time frame.
Thank you. And candidate Specht?
Yeah, thank you. Absolutely. I mean, I agree. Our small businesses are vital to any community, especially ours. I've been spoken or talked to several local businesses like Airfit that they're seeing dramatic decreases even now in memberships, and some of the things that we try to offer for them would be, we have our electronic billboard out there for the city. Can we utilize that to advertise for them, try to get their name out there more? Can we put them in our Ramsey resident letter to get advertising that way? advertise for them on our Facebook site and other ways. So we can try to help promote our businesses and get their names out there to try to help get the residents. You know, I don't, you know, we talked a little bit about, does the county or state have different funding things, you know, for them, and we investigated that. But biggest thing is we try to let them know it's a short-term pain for a long-term gain, and we really just try to help advertise and get their name out.
Thank you. And candidate Specht, roads seem to be an ongoing issue in Ramsey. How should Ramsey fund roads, and how might you address maintenance, potholes, and road repairs?
Yeah, thank you. Absolutely. You know, we've had some good discussions about this even tonight, and yeah, I mean, the roads are key. People need safe roads to be able to move around and get to their work and things. You know, for funding, some of the things that we've done, you know, we've made sure we have a strong amount allocated in our budget for ongoing usage, you know, 1.7 million plus for that. You know, we found extra COVID money, and we're like, let's put that to the roads. We talked about the bonding, where we're gonna bond and have to borrow that amount to 10, 12 million to get all of our roads up to speed, because there's really a shortfall due to past times not having the money saved, maybe from different councils and things. So let's put all the money together now, let's get them up to speed, let's get them fixed, and then have a good plan going forward. For potholes and things, I know we recently got a different mechanism for filling the potholes that made them get filled about half this time. So we could do a lot more, and next year hopefully do a lot more quickly.
Thank you. And candidate Johnson?
Thank you for the question. This has really been a big issue for quite some time here in Ramsey. So I definitely am for, you know, making sure we get these roads repaired, and you know, whether it's patched or, you know, new actual roads altogether. The one thing that I am in a disagreement is borrowing money to pay for the next X amount of years to complete this construction or resurfacing or fixing at this point of the roads. Borrowing money just kind of leads to us being in a position that doesn't set us up for a great future. I realize right now it's kind of a need, but going forward, I think it's really something that just has to be on the radar at all times, that these are things that need to be addressed, whether that's, you know, roads or other things that are going to run its course.
Thank you. And candidate Johnson, bees and other pollinators are a critical part of our environment. What would you do to create a pollinator-friendly?
This is a really double-edged sword question for me. I'm allergic to bees. So I run like mad, and it's funny because I even scream as I'm running away. But I do know that it is extremely important. My mother, before she moved out here, she actually had her own little bee colony where she attracted the bees, made the honey, you know, all of that stuff, and had more than enough flowers to accommodate all of it. So I would be definitely for any type of area that you could have some type of a colony, whether it's on residential land or in maybe something that the city owns directly. I just really would not want to be close to it. But it's definitely something that's important, and I think we always need to address environmental issues when they occur.
Thank you. And candidate Specht?
Yeah, thank you. One thing that's really cool is right on the south of Highway 10 over by Connexus Energy's solar panels. So actually, we do have a bee farm there. And I remember when that was kind of dedicated, and I was at that event and heard from a lot of people that were excited about it. Because I guess, you know, bees are very important for environment as pollinators. So we have that going there. And I would definitely support more places like that where we have kind of wide open areas like over by the solar panels or other areas within Ramsey. What I found too is I've door knocked people's houses. I'm really happily surprised that a lot of them don't have the grass or maybe the traditional yards. Instead, there are bushes, there's flowers, there's a lot more areas for the pollinators to, you know, pollinate and grow there and be friendly environments. You know, especially down on Bowers Drive or even in Riverdale, Riveland as we walk down there. And so I think a lot of people are taking that initiative themselves, and I think we can support that by making sure we don't have any, you know, if there's regulations we need to change, we can change that, but allow people to have, yards that aren't necessarily grass, but have flowers and things, like many do, and find more areas of the city that we could have those.
Thank you. And candidate Specht, should Ramsey have a city manager form of government? Why or why not?
Yeah, I am very happy with our form of government now. I know some cities, I believe like Duluth has the strong mayor form of government where the mayor kind of more acts like the city manager and has more direct control. I like the form that we have where we're a charter city. You know, the charter is kind of like our constitution of putting, you know, the limitations in place for the city council. And then on the council, each of us has an equal vote. You know, same as the mayor. The mayor doesn't really have any more authority than any other council member. And that allows for good discussion and you know, feedback, iron sharpens iron against other people, and make sure we get the best product for the resident. I think you know, council's over the city manager, and the city manager then, you know, we kind of set the vision at that level, and the city manager then can implement those, that vision and policy, and, you know, I think it's been effective, and yeah, I'm very happy with our city manager, and we have a great staff.
Thank you. And candidate Johnson?
Yeah, so the way the city is arranged, since we are not a very large city and we don't need full-time staff or a mayor, I believe that the way we have it set up today is a very good way to set up for a city of this size. If it was a little bit larger, maybe it would be a little bit different. So a city manager would really, you know, kind of coincide exactly with what the city administrator does. So with that, I don't know, I mean, it's just a name change, I guess, for him if we went along that route. But right now, with what the city has and what it needs, I think the way we have it set up today is a perfect way of doing things.
Thank you. Candidate Johnson, what steps will you or can you take to prevent crime in Ramsey?
This is a very heartfelt question for me. My future son-in-law is a Red Lake canine sergeant now, so obviously protection is very key. It's a big part of our life. So the biggest thing is listening to what the police officers need, you know, making sure they have the right equipment and tools to do their job, and also they have the right resources when their job is a little bit more overwhelming. That way they are there, they're able to help, they're able to assist. It's not just necessarily crime that they deal with a whole lot more. And I think as long as we have healthy officers on patrol, I think we are definitely going to have a safe city, which I really feel like is a safe city. You know, there hasn't been as much going on with us as maybe other cities. I come from the east side of St. Paul, so you can understand it's a very different world there today than it was back in the day. So I feel like we're on the right track with this.
Thank you. And candidate Specht?
Yeah, thank you. Absolutely. You know, we want a safe community, and the biggest way to do that is to protect our police. So I think that's the most important thing, or support our police. When they've requested things like body cameras, we've recently approved that, and they've been working out which type they want and getting those ordered. You know, we got new equipment for the squad cars, new camera systems. As they've needed new officers, we try to trust the chief as they explain why they need new officers for different things, so we support that. And, you know, along with having that strong police force, which we need to fully fund and have in place, I think things like the Night Unite are so important. I love it when we went out and I got to hit a lot of the different Night Unite events that went on in Ward 3 here, and just see neighbors getting together, chatting, meeting each other that they might not have known before. And when you know your neighbors and you know your community, you know, I think it's going to be safer then because you can look out for one another and be there. So definitely strong police and just promote community events.
Thank you. And candidate Specht, please explain your perception as to what the role of city council is or is not.
Yeah, thank you. So in my, how I see the city council is kind of the overall, obviously governing and final decision maker of the city, but our role isn't to manage the day-to-day operations or anything like that within the city, but our goal is to, and purpose is to kind of set the overall tone, agenda, and vision for the city. So we'll, through our ordinances, through the policy that we, create, and through, things that we improve and not approve, we go ahead and set that vision and that purpose for our city. And then the city employees, when we have an amazing staff, they would go out and implement that. And as they have questions, they'll come back and we'll, try to clarify things. But we're really kind of that overseeing over the highest level of decision-making board. And I neither have the time nor desire to try to micromanage or to try to help people every day. Busy enough doing that with my kids. So, we trust the staff, we set that vision, and we let them run with it and, give advice and input as we need, and kind of set that leadership tone. So.
Thank you. And Candidate Johnson?
Thank you also for this question. My perception of the role of City Council is really the eyes and ears between the community and what we have as our rules and regulations or laws that we've set forth here in the city. The city itself, the staff, they are their own body. The council, I don't believe, should have much to do with it. That's run by a particular person, and that particular person is the go-between between the staff and the city council. But I really feel like we should be always the eyes and ears of what's going on, and maybe the opportunity of things that are not working, maybe we can adjust, or things that are really working great that maybe we can enhance in other areas with that same concept.
Thank you. And Candidate Johnson, describe how you work with others and how you would integrate yourself into the City Council.
Sure. Describing myself in a work environment is very easy. The biggest thing is teamwork, and I truly believe there is no I in team. It takes everyone to make sure that we are integrated. The way that works for me personally is you have one mouth and two ears, and you should be listening more than speaking. Also, when it comes time for discussion, being able to be open-minded, listening to everybody's idea, and then being able to talk it through. So integrating myself, I think that would be a very easy action for me. As long as the rest of the group is willing to participate in the same manner, it works very well when people are really open and honest and willing to listen to others.
Thank you. And Candidate Specht?
Yeah, thank you. I think it is very important, and when I see myself and how I integrate with the council, is that we do listen to other views, and we can grow in our thoughts and ideas as you learn from others. So as we sit around in work sessions or we sit around in council meetings and we hear feedback from others, we can grow in our decisions and maybe change some views. But with that, I think there are some guiding principles that we have in life that, we wouldn't necessarily be as, negotiable, if that's a word, but standing on those principles, but then also growing and changing as you learn and hear other things. One thing I really liked is one of our first things brought up to the council was only the mayor and I were in favor or against it. Another time it was me and another individual, another time it was three of us. And depending on the issue, we do a good job of, really having good back and forth. And it's funny how one day, the one case you might be with somebody, the next case you might be against. So you never want to burn bridges or be impolite, but you just realize you're working with them and respect the differences.
Thank you. And Candidate Specht, how can Ramsey embrace and encourage more volunteerism?
Thank you. So, trying to learn from other cities. One thing that I've noticed as I follow, like the Facebook site of Elk River, for example, they have a volunteer of the month that they recognize. And, I brought that idea and we've discussed it before. I think that it's something that we're thinking about, the best way to implement it and decide it. But yeah, volunteerism is so important. So we could find ways to recognize those volunteers, I think would be great. I really appreciate our boards and commissions and the volunteer work that they put on there. There's no way the council could do their job without the input from them. And definitely volunteer role within the city, I think, too. We can try to make more citywide opportunities, for volunteering, cleanup days, cleanup weekends. And again, we have a big media presence where, can we promote different volunteer opportunities? If a private company wants to set something up for a volunteer opportunity over a weekend or something, can we, push that on our social media and our Ramsey resident newsletter? How can we get that out and really be that voice? Let the people do what they want to do to help.
Thank you. And Candidate Johnson?
Thank you for the question. Volunteerism, I believe, is either a core value that you have or don't. You either really want to help or pay forward or pay back, however you want to look at it, or it's just something that wasn't either taught or is a big part of your life. And I think different stages in life can definitely change that. For volunteerism, for myself, I always try to lead by example. There's a few, personal volunteer opportunities that I take advantage of anytime I'm able to. But if maybe that's promoted a little bit more, as a whole of I had a great time doing X volunteering and really help that kind of grow and make it more maybe as a daily idea instead of, oh, I probably should do that to look good here or whatever. But I definitely think there's a lot of opportunities with volunteering, whether it's the community, the schools, the county, all of it makes a big sense for us.
Thank you. And that concludes the question and answers for this evening. So each candidate will now have 1 minute to give closing statements. And we'll begin with you, Candidate Johnson.
Then, thank you for my closing statement. Again, I want to thank you for the great questions. They were a little bit more challenging than I was expecting, which is good because it makes you think. I really am excited about the direction Ramsey is really going. I really am excited about this opportunity and hope that people see, what I am, what I stand for, and that I really just want this community to be a great place. So I would appreciate the vote.
Thank you. Candidate Specht?
Yeah, I definitely want to thank the league again for hosting this forum. It's great that this is done, just so people can meet the candidates and hear from them. As I've door knocked, met with residents, answered emails, phone calls, heard from all different types of residents, and they really hear what is that they appreciate that they have a voice in the city hall, and that's really what I hope that I can continue to do, and that's be a voice for the residents. I always have an open phone line, an open email, or meet me in Coburn so we can stop and talk, which has happened plenty of times, and I want to represent you. When I think about what we've accomplished in even the 3 years I've been here, eliminating fees, simplifying the code, approving new businesses into Ramsey, updating our parks, having a park replacement program, we put a mechanism in place now that I think is going to get all of our roads finally caught up within a 3 to 5 year period, starting with 167th and 161st next year. I was able to work with a coalition of federal, state, county, local agents on the Highway 10 committee, and so we can get funding for there. We fully funded our police, approved the Pack Charter School, and for more information, feel free to reach out to my website, Dan Specht, 4, Ramsey.com. And this November, I'm asking for your vote for Dan Specht.
Thank you. Thank you both, Candidate Specht and Candidate Johnson, for speaking to voters about the issues and for running in the election for Ramsey City Council. So this concludes our forum for Ramsey City Council Ward 3. Thank you also QCTV for recording this Meet the Candidates forum. And thank you viewers for your interest in becoming informed voters. As we move through the election season, link to all of our local election forums at lwvabcmn.org, as well as the QCTV website and YouTube. If you have questions left unanswered by the forum, contact the candidates directly. To register to vote or update your registration, go online to mnvotes.gov. You can also register when you go to vote. There's a lot of races on this year's ballot, and redistricting has taken place. So if you're unsure where to vote, or if you want to preview what will be on your ballot, just go to mnvotes.gov. Again, that's mnvotes.gov. And when you vote, you participate in our democracy, you make it stronger, and you make it yours. So vote on or before November 8th. Thank you.